People just like to people just like to do dumb stuff. That's the scourge of society now. Just people like to be fucking retarded. I mean, these Black Lives Matter movement motherfuckers just think they're doing the right thing. Think they're doing everything that needs to be done, but it's obviously not doing anything. Quite frankly, it's not doing anything beneficial to their movement. Violence is never the answer. And basically that's what I want to talk about, is just poor movements and poor groups that do things to just backpedal society's view upon them, upon a group or minority, whatever, part of a faction. And just fucking idiots like these Black Matter movement people, these group members, they think that it's all the police department's fault, and that's not necessarily the right aspect of. That's not the right statement, like the right assumption, because usually black on black crime is very prominent, and the police brutality killings of African Americans only account for like less than half, 10% of the total African American homicide group on African Americans. So that's a very unvalid statement that it's mainly caused by the police. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the statistics show that and reveal that that's not the case. Mostly, in a general sense, African Americans like to murder other African Americans. It's very obvious. You look at the most recent homicide cases, and just look at the most recent homicide cases in your city. You can look it up on city data or on your city's police department site. You could see that most of the homicides on African Americans are committed by other African Americans or committed by other minority perpetrators, especially African Americans. Actually, mostly African Americans, like 98%. That's just in my city, but it's just very true that black on black crime is very prominent, and it is probably the cause of police brutality, because police eventually they get sick of it, because usually the people that are murdered in these cases or have prior criminal records and have done bad illicit activity throughout the years. So there's no excuse that why these people are murdered, because they are doing something illicit or they are not confining with the law itself. And that's why sometimes the police brutality cannot be excusable, but most of the time it can. Because I'm an African American myself, but see, I do not worry about police brutality because I always confide with the law, and I respect the law. I'm not one of those gangster motherfuckers that just likes to do dumb shit and get in trouble and have a criminal record and, all that bad shit on the way. But obviously, Black Lives Matter movement, I think, should be stopped immediately, because it makes no sense, literally. Martin Luther King, what he wanted in the 1960s was a peaceful demonstration on how to make my majority accept his claims and pleads. And now this Black Lives Matter movement is just being devastating to their own race, to their own African American heritage, to its own culture, and to this country. And it's very implausible, and I just dislike it. It just doesn't make much sense to me at all. I think there's no excuse for this. For the 2 police officers murdered in that riot, that's just outrageous. I'm not saying that all police officers are innocent when they murder an African American, especially unarmed. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying that for the majority, there is a reason. But for the Eric Garner incident, that is unexcusable. That shouldn't have happened. I know police officers that even stated that that shouldn't have happened. And people say, oh, every police officer is racist. And I have many friends that have parents who are police officers, and they're very respectful for me, even though I'm not a majority. I'm not a white person, Caucasian, I'm African American. So really, just depends. I guarantee at least 95% of police officers are not stereotypical or prejudiced in any sort of way. They might stereotype a little bit, but they are certainly not prejudiced. And that's just my opinion. I feel like there's evidence that I have personal evidence to back that claim up, that statement up. I could debunk that all cops are racist, and honestly, however, I feel like the Blue Lives Matter movement, which means that simply in a sense that the police officer lives matter, is kind of very, very insane. It's just very arbitrary. And the reason I say that is because there's only been a couple police officer deaths throughout the month, and only about 2 or 3 actually, just in Pennsylvania, maybe even less. I actually know there's probably only like 1 or 2 just in Pennsylvania alone a month, maybe even less. So really, that's not even close to how many African Americans die. And the Black Lives Movement, I don't know why they just related to police officers, because most of the time it's black and black crime, it's same race, inductory crime, so I have no idea why they're just blaming it on the police, because that's not the case. They should blame it on themselves. They aren't getting an education. They aren't even trying in society. So that's basically my opinions on this matter. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye. Square Boy.